Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Hibbs and I'm the Education Outreach Coordinator for Linn County Farm Bureau. It is harvest season. Farmers have been busy in the fields harvesting corn and soybeans. Vegetable farmers are busy harvesting all of the rest of the summer produce that they've been growing. Well, farmers are not done once they harvest. Many farmers in Iowa will plant cover crops. What is a cover crop? Why do we plant cover crops? How do cover crops work? And what are some different types of cover crops that farmers might plant? Those are the things we will be covering today in this short video. So I have an experiment here where I have 3 pop bottles looking at why we plant cover crops. So before I show you the experiment, first let's talk about what a cover crop is. So I have an Iowa Ag Today publication, issue 3. You can find this on the Iowa Ag Literacy Foundation's website. A cover crop definition is in the very middle where we talk about some conservation practices. So I'm going to just read you what a cover crop is. Cover crops. Farmers can plant cover crops in the fall after harvest. The growing plant roots help hold the soil in place during winter and early spring. Wind and water erosion can be greatly reduced. Cover crops can also absorb extra nutrients in the soil like nitrogen. This prevents them from running into watersheds. Cover crops can increase soil health, water retention, and even yield. Yield is the measurement we use when we are harvesting our corn and soybeans. So erosion is one of the words that we read about in that paragraph. Erosion is the movement of soil. We want our soil to stay on our fields. Soil is how we grow food. It's how we plant our corn and soybeans, and we don't want that soil washing away into the creeks or rivers during the winter and springtime. Water erosion is when we get heavy rains and the water moves the soil. We also have wind erosion. When we get heavy winds, the wind can also move the soil. But if you think about, if we have a plant on top of that soil, covering the soil, then the roots will act as a net and they will hold those soil particles back. When the rain comes, the roots and the plant materials will be holding the soil so tight that the water won't wash the soil away. It also helps by providing nutrients to the soil, and it holds nutrients in so that the nutrients don't run off into the creeks or rivers. So there's many benefits to planting cover crops, and farmers all across Iowa plant cover crops in the fall. Once they harvest their corn and soybeans, they will then choose a cover crop to plant. They will plant that, and actually there's some really cool technology now. I had a conversation with a farmer who uses drones to help spread cover crop seed before they even harvest. So that means the seeds have a chance to start germinating before harvest even happens, and giving it a little bit more growth before the winter. Many farmers, though, do still plant the seed once they have harvested and the field is clean of corn and soybeans. They will probably plant right directly into the residue left over from the corn stalks and the soybean residue. That way, if they are decreasing the amount that they till, they are also decreasing the amount of erosion because the soil is going to stay in place and it's not going to be fluffy and easy to move. Okay, so I have an experiment here. I have a pop bottle that has just soil in it, one with sticks and leaves, and this one has been growing for a while. It's full of grass. So some different cover crops that a farmer might plant include legumes, because legumes hold the soil. So like peas or lentils. A farmer might choose to plant grass like rye. Radishes is another one that many farmers plant. So cover crops can be a variety of different seeds, but it's going to start growing in the fall, and then farmers will either terminate it in the spring, or sometimes the winter will actually terminate the plant before they plant in the spring. But farmers who also have livestock can choose to then use the cover crop as a feed source. So that's also an option. Okay, so I have a cup on the bottom of each, or hanging from the bottom of each of these bottles. And so you can get a better picture of what's happening, I'm going to flip the camera around and show you a close-up view. But just to explain, so I'm going to add water. I'm going to tip one bottle at a time. I'm going to tip it and add water to the back. We're going to see which one has the most erosion. So which one has the most soil come and fall into the cup. So make a prediction. Which one do you think is going to have the cleanest water with limited erosion, limited soil movement? And which one do you think is going to have the darkest water come into the cup and have the most soil? So the most soil erosion of that soil traveling into that cup. As you can see, we had soil that came into all of the cups. But if we look at which cup is which of the bottles, this first one here is the one that was just soil. And if you notice, there is a lot of loose soil in this cup. A lot of fertilizer or nutrients that would have traveled with that soil. So there is very large particles in now what would be the river. The second cup had the leaves and sticks, so that would be similar to leaving corn residue, the stalks, what's left over after harvest, on the field without tilling. And that helps a little bit. If you can see, there's less big chunks of soil in the water and less erosion, and also means less nutrients that ran off into the water. This last cup shows the cover crop, and you can notice it's still black, so some soil still came off into the water, but it doesn't have chunks like the other ones. So you can see it's a lot smoother, or a lot less large particles and more smaller particles. And then also in the neck of the bottle there was some soil stuck. So I'm sure if we were to keep adding water, rain, the grass one would hold up a lot better than just the leaves, sticks, and then also just the plain soil. With the Iowa Ag Today publication, I just wanted to direct you to the middle. There are other types of conservation practices that farmers might put into place, and this is a very good spot to review those. So we have cover crops, buffer zones, no-till farming that we had mentioned, terraces, bioreactors. So this is a great publication to research further and to investigate some other conservation practices that we can put into place to help prevent against erosion. Thank you everyone for watching.